and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be diving in to the world of homemade beef broth. We'll be roasting beef bones, simmering a rich broth, and even canning it for long-term storage. Plus, we'll save the tallow to try and make some amazing skincare later. Let's get started. First things first, we're gonna roast these beautiful beef bones. This step is crucial for enhancing the flavor of our broth. Now, I got these bones from my neighbor. They always get a whole or a half cow every year. They got it in the summertime, and I wasn't able to process this then, so it's been sitting in my freezer, and I got the time now. So today we're gonna pull these bones out. We're gonna lay them out on some trays and arrange them on baking sheets and put them in the oven for about 45 minutes to an hour, and I flipped them halfway through. So I did 30 minutes and then flipped them and then 30 more minutes. Look at the bones, they're looking great. They did set off my smoke alarm a lot because it's super sensitive, but it was worth it. I'm gonna transfer the roasted bones into a large roaster pot. You could do a stock pot on the stove, but I'm using this roaster pot. Cover them with water and add some aromatics like onions, carrots, celery, garlic, and a bouquet of herbs and spices. And I'm gonna bring it all to a boil and then reduce the heat and just let it simmer. You're gonna wanna do this simmer for 12 to 24 hours, which is why I really like the roaster oven and not using it on my stove with my gas. The electric roaster oven was a much better plan. You can skim off any foam or fat that rises to the top, but mine really didn't because I had it so low and I had it covered the whole time. Alright, so after hours of simmering, I did this overnight. Our broth has turned into this rich, flavorful liquid. You can see the deep color and smell the amazing aroma. My whole house smells like beef. Next, I'm going to strain the broth through a fine mesh sieve to remove all the solids and let it cool at room temperature. I did not refrigerate this overnight. I didn't have time because I was able to go use my mom's pressure canner that day. So we didn't have time to let it cool overnight in the fridge, which definitely would have helped solidify the tallow on the top. That would have been so easy to scoop off if I would have had the timing right. C'est la vie. So when I got to my mom's to can the broth, I heated it a little bit, but not too much, because I really tried hard with a spoon to kind of scoop off as much of that fat and the tallow that had come to the top. I got a lot off just skimming it off the top of the pot before it had solidified. Also, after I had started doing that, my mom was like, what about putting an ice cube in there? She read some hack. So we did try and put it in the jar of the tallow I'd already scooped to see how that worked. It really did solidify it. I don't know how adding it to the broth would have worked to help, but definitely just do the timing so you can let it sit. But we did get a lot of tallow just by skimming the top, and then once we poured it into the jars, we let that cool a little and we skimmed even more there. So when it's time, we needed to heat it again because we had the jars heated because they were sanitized in the dishwasher, so we were heating the broth. We filled the jars, leaving about 1 inch of head space. You wipe the rims clean, place the lids and the bands, and process them in the pressure canner, making sure to follow specific time and pressure guidelines for your altitude. So like if you live in New Mexico, Santa Fe, where my mother-in-law lives, when you toured her garden, it definitely would be completely different than here in Maryland and our low, a lot closer to sea level altitude. Also, it was hard. My mom and I kind of had to put a couple different versions together because there was not an exact recipe in this canner's like instruction book. So we put it together. It wound up working out. I think we did the quart jars at 20 minutes and the pint jars at 15 minutes, but it still like takes 30 minutes to get up to temperature, and then they go for that amount of time, and then it takes like an hour or more, a lot of time for it to like off steam. The pressure has to be let out. It has to cool off automatically. Like if you rush it too much, you don't want to do that. It won't be good for the cans. And you can see even when we took ours out, sometimes it was still even boiling the broth when we got ours opened. So I was there almost all day with her. We got what we got done. We got 4 quarts and then about 6 or 7 pints, 2 of which I left out because her thing only fit 5 pints at a time. So some are just in my fridge and I use them. Also, I'm curious, I didn't add salt to this broth. I feel like I should have, especially like if you want to drink this, like if you're on carnivore or whatever diet that you eat bone broth or beef bone broth, you definitely want to add that salt, because without salt, it tastes pretty bland. Salt is a life giver, people. But I left the salt out because a lot of times when my husband cooks things, he likes to add salt in when he's cooking. And then if you use salted broth, it's like too much salt. So we're probably not going to be drinking this. We're going to be cooking with it. So I left it unsalted. Next up, we're going to try out working with this tallow. Tallow is fantastic for your skin. You can render it further if needed and use it as a moisturizer, balm, or homemade skincare products. It's incredibly nourishing and versatile. You can also just use it to cook with, like lard or butter, or tallow is great for glazing meats and sauteing, and it's a fat, so it's great. But I really want to try and use it in some of my salves and balms, however you say that. Like I have some yarrow and I have some comfrey, and we're in winter eczema season. Everybody is itchy, scratchy, and tallow is just perfect. It somehow it just gets absorbed into our skin really well. So I want to try it, but this tallow is super beefy, so I need to render it down, and I'm going to work on that. Alright, so I'm trying to figure out the amount of water and salt to add while I'm going to render this down. Note to self, saving this next time, do it in something that's easier to get it out of, because this jar is a pain in the butt. Definitely smells really beefy still. And you can see like some of the gelatinous stuff in the bottom here that's gonna have to get rendered. We're at 11.2 ounces. Alexa, how many ounces are in a pound?
1 pound is 16 ounces.
Okay. So 1 tablespoon of salt to 5 parts water per 1 pound of fat. Alright, so we need 5 times these. So 5 times 11 is 55, and that's 6.88 cups, according to the robot. There is my water. I think I need a little bit less than a tablespoon of salt here, because I don't have a pound. Turn on medium there. So there's my like a scant tablespoon. That means like not completely full. How's that look? I'm sure it's okay if it's not exact. So it's gonna be more water underneath of it. So, and then I'm gonna add in my fat. And then we're gonna just let this cook down and get out all of the gunk that I don't want in there. So you see it's like yellowy, it's got some like gelatinous lumps. Hopefully we'll be getting out the smells and the beefiness. Just gonna get this going here. here. I'm gonna get that pot. And I'm just now thinking that much liquid isn't gonna fit in this bowl. That much tallow will, but not that much liquid. I need a bigger bowl. That should fit. Hindsight, I have some today. This looks like it's gonna be messy. Yep. Still pretty yellow, y'all. I don't know. Hopefully the salt water will do its thing and pull out all the other crud. And then next time we strain it, we'll use cheesecloth. Get it all melted down with that salt water, and it will pull all the impurities. The salt and the water will sink all the impurities down to the bottom, and the tallow will come to the top. And once it cools, you can scoop off that tallow, and then you just scrape off the impurities. And I'm thinking I'm gonna have to do this a couple times, because I didn't get this, you know, from a butcher where they just cut the fat off and gave it to me. This was me scooping off the top. This is probably better tallow to use for cooking, but I really want to try it into making it to use for skincare since I have it here. We're gonna see how long it takes me to render it to get it a nice white color and not smelling like beef, because I want to use it for some skincare. I don't want it to smell like you're rubbing roast beef on your skin. This is what it looks like about 9 hours later. I just turned off the crock pot. It's been simmering. It looks a lot clearer. There looks to be a lot of stuff on the bottom. So we'll see as it cools. I might move it outside today to help it cool faster. We'll see how it comes. I almost forgot to. God, I keep forgetting the steps of this. Excuse me. Thank you, assistant. And now these gotta cool. Looks really yellow, but definitely more refined. Hopefully it'll clear up as it dries. Alright, so this was outside, curing up. Looks really good. It's full of water under here, so I need to get it out, put it in another container, trying to decide what I want to put it in. It's got a clean knife. Might flop it out on this, so I can do the back of it maybe. Okay. Wow, they came out nice. I'm just gonna like get this gook off. It looks pretty damn good, y'all. Really white. Still smells a little beefy, but less than it was. I think I'm gonna score the outside of this one too. Gonna give it a little scrapey. Yeah, most of that looks pretty good. And this is the tallow that I'm gonna save. It really doesn't smell that beefy. I'm really impressed. So that was after cooking it down in the slow cooker all night and straining it with the cheesecloth. I really like that. So this is what I'm gonna save and possibly make some lotion out of. We'll see. Out, and in another video I'm going to show you how I make it into the skincare. So thanks for joining me on this journey today, from roasting bones to skincare. I hope you found it helpful. I hope you now, if you get those bones, because when you go to a butcher and you get a cow from from a farmer, you're paying for all of it. So you might as well take those bones and make something useful for them, with them. So, and my neighbor, I definitely am going to give her, those were her bones, I'm going to give her some of this beef broth, I'm going to give her some of these tallow products I'm making. Thank you, Sarah. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. Preserving from the spoils of summer that have been in my freezer. So look for some more because I still have a ton of tomatoes and peppers that are frozen that I need to get making things with. So thanks for watching, guys, today. Please subscribe, share this if you like it. Join me on my little cottage core lifestyle journey here. And thanks. Bye.